thank you very much for coming. We have a very lovely group here. I didn't know there's so many good-looking Reinkes. I don't know where I come from, but boy, you guys look good. Tonight, we've decided that we're going to have fun. I don't care what else happens, we are going to have fun. After we get done eating, we got some good entertainment coming. We're going to have some fun tonight, and we're going to hear a few stories, maybe a little shady.
No.
We're gonna hear some songs, some pure and some aren't quite good. But we want you to be a little broad-minded. If something sounds a little shady, if it sounds a little too bad, we didn't bring earplugs, but use your fingers. Because we are going to tell a few, and I don't think they're that bad, but they are if you just sit and want to criticize. We want to have fun. The only way to have fun is get down here and let your hair down. I'm going to take mine off before the evening. So let's have a ball and enjoy ourselves and visit. You know, one thing about the Reinke clan, and all of you that are married to me are used to this, they never quit talking. I'll tell you, last night when that group got together, there were 65 of them. I finally sat in the corner. I said to myself, that's the only time I've ever been quiet. There was just too much noise. So enjoy your food, and thank you very much for coming. A lot of you spent a lot of money, came a long way. Thank you. We love you for it. My name is Harold Reinke, and I am a Reinke. And I'm married to Betty Reinke, and I live here in Billings, and I try to make a living by selling the world's most wonderful automobile, Dodges.
And my sisters all catered to me when I was a kid.
And she said it right. She was too old to be young and too young to be old. She is all messed up. And I was right in the middle of it, and I had to do all the work for my sisters, and I did all the work for my older brothers.
Well, I'm Betty Reinke, the wife of Cranky Reinke of Midland Dodge, and I guess that's all I can say, because he's the person.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Betty.
Or Cranky is his daughter.
I'm Janet, my singer. I'm Harold's daughter, Bud's sister, and that's my daughter Treat over there.
Okay, I'm Bud Reinke, my wife Susan, my daughter Carrie. We're from Livingston, soon to be to Billings. She's from Billings. Poor girl has to live here, and that's it. The rest of our family will be here soon.
What are you going to start with? Got the film running. I got to get a cheater on here. Because Harold's got such a good voice.
You won't even hear me when he starts singing.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. I got my education out behind the door. I'm fooling, no siree. Passed the examination out behind the bar, and it almost made a ring out of me. My pappy used to stand my high out behind the barn. He taught me to be dignified out behind the barn. When he took his strap to me, Turned me down across his knee. Sure it hurt my dignity out behind the barn. I got my education out behind the barn. I ain't fooling, no siree. Passed examination out behind the barn, and it almost made a wreck out of me. I smoked my first cigarette out behind the barn, and that's the day I won't forget. Out behind the barn, I got sick, and you should have seen how the tobacco turned me green. You learned that. I almost died of nicotine out behind the barn. I got my education out behind the barn. I ain't fooling, no siree. Passed examination out behind the barn, and it almost made a wreck out of me. I met a pretty girl one day out behind the barn. She wanted me to stay and play out behind the barn. She taught me to kiss and pet. That's the game I can't forget. 'Cause we still play the same game yet out behind the barn. I got my education out behind the barn. I ain't fooling, no siree. Passed examination out behind the barn, and it almost made a wreck out of me. I wish that I could go again out behind the barn and do the things I did then out behind the barn. You may think it ain't so fun to be a poor farmer's son. Just don't know what I've done out behind the barn. I got my education out behind the barn. I ain't fooling, no siree. Passed examination out behind the barn, and it almost made a wreck out of me. They want to hear the chorus one more time, Harold. Want to hear one more? I got my education out behind the barn. I ain't fooling. Passed examination out behind the barn, and it almost made a wreck out of me. And it almost made a wreck out of me. Harold's got a couple of those songs we want to sing too, I think. Look, here's another little song you want to sing.
That's the one I sang the last time. But the last three,
We'll do it again. There's about 100 people who were here last time. Okay.
When I grew up to be a man, I said I'd work no more. My daddy took me by my pants, he kicked me out the door. It's not because I'm lucky, it's not because I'm smart. I didn't like working, that's how I got my start. One day I did try working, my wages they were fair. On payday I got tipsy, That's when I got the air. It's not because I'm lucky, it's not because I'm smart. I drank a lot of hooch, that's how I got my start. One night I met a pretty little girl and we had so much fun. Until I met her husband, he put me on the run. He kicked me in my trousers, he almost broke my heart. But when he started shooting, that's when I got my start. Yeah, it's not because I'm lucky, it's not because I'm smart. I fooled around with another guy's wife, that's how I got my start. Now I've been all over this country, I've been most every place. All the dirty, lousy cops have given me the chase. It's not because I'm lucky, it's not because I'm smart. I just don't like working, that's how I got my start.
Say, but you know,
I just want to say that I want to thank Ronnie and Sonny and Linda, Ray, whatever last names. They got this thing started last year, and I'll admit, I was one of them that said it's too close together. And they just insisted, and Ronnie, he has done a lot of legwork. So this thing come together, and you can see it's been very, very successful. So we're proud for that. All of you got up here and talked, and I just want to tell you, in case you don't know who I am, I'm Harold Reinke. But the GMC dealer.
I think we'll have to kill them.
I want to introduce my wife. This is my wife, Betty. I have a little story to tell about Betty. Betty went to the doctor about 6 months ago. And the doctor checked her all over, and she come home and she said, you know what? The doctor said I got a 20-year-old body. And it just made me sick, you know. So I ignored her. So she waits about half an hour. She said, did you hear me? The doctor said I got a body of a 20-year-old. I said, yeah, and I walked away. The third time she said it, I said, well, what did he say about your 70-year-old ass? She said, you know what, honey? We didn't discuss you. But I want to give my testimony. I want to really say I'm so glad to be here tonight. I want to tell you, in 1965, I died 4 times. They operated on a gallbladder and they left a sponge in me. And this family, they came from all over and they prayed and they spent money on me. And I want to say that Sister Bernice, to my verse right there, that poor little girl, I was single those days. Oh, what a sad life. And she took care of me, she fed me, and nursed me back to health. And so the next 7 years I stayed single. And I want to tell you folks, don't go through that misery. I was lonesome. And finally, well, I tell you, I'm going to sing a little song. I wish I were single again. I wish I were single again. I wish I were single, my pockets would jingle. I wish I were single again. My wife, she died, oh then. My wife, she died, oh then. My wife, she died, I laughed and I cried. And now I am single again. I married another, oh then. I married another, oh then. I married another, the devil's grandmother. I wish I were single again. The devil's grandmother, she died, oh then. The devil's grandmother, she died, oh then. The devil's grandmother, she died. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed and now I am single again. Oh, I am single again. Oh, I was single again. But when I got ready, I married Betty, and now I'm single again.
Okay, anybody else?
I'm Bud Reinke. I think if you sit here tonight and you watch, especially the ones of my generation and the generation down there, you've seen what the original Reinke, the 7 girls, the 5 brothers, how close they were. You see what the true value of family is. Everything that we are, everything our kids will be, is because of them. And I think for that, more than anything, we owe them a big hand.
Thanks, Bud.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you all for being such an enthusiastic crowd. I started to make a kind of a little program type thing, and I said, let's just swing it, and we'll get everybody up here, get everybody involved, and I really appreciate all you. I'm really proud to be a part of the Reinke family. I mean, I'm sure glad to be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank Betty.
I do have 1 or 2 stories before we start the rest. I better tell you. We had a cowboy go to church the other day, and he went in, came out, and the preacher met him at the door, and he said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I've never seen you in church before." And he said, "I'm so glad to see you." He said, "What brought you here?" The cowboy said, "I come here to steal a hat." And the preacher said, "Well, you know, it's kind of funny that you would come to a church to steal a hat." And he said, "Well, after you preached the sermon, I changed my mind." And the preacher said, "Well, how did I change your mind?" He said, "Well, when you preached, you said, 'Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.' Then I remembered where I left my hat." There was a man that's a member of the Catholic Church, and he went to see the Father, and he said, "Father, I've sinned. I've had an affair going on with one of your church members here, and I think I'd like to have my sins forgiven." And the Father said, "Well, that's fine, but who is she?" And the guy said, No. He said, "I can't tell you. That wouldn't be fair. I just don't want to tell you." And the Father said, "Well, was it Mrs. Smith?" "No." "Was it Mrs. Johnson?" "No." "Was it Mrs. Brown?" "No." The guy said, "Look," he said, "I'm not going to tell you." So he just walks out of the church. He got outside, and his buddy was waiting for him. He says, "Did you get your sins forgiven?" He said, "No, but I sure picked up 3 good leads." We had a young lady go to the doctor, and she had a terrible pain in her stomach, and she just couldn't get over it. Dr. Fisher, where's Anyway, they checked him, and they took all kinds of tests, or checked her and all kinds of tests, and finally, the doctor said, "I'll tell you what your problem is. You need sex 3 times a week." And she said, "Great." She said, "Could you tell my husband?" He said, "Yeah." So they called the husband in, and they said, "You know, your wife needs sex 3 times a week." And the guy said, "Well, I guess that can be arranged. I could bring her in on Monday and Wednesday, but she'd have to catch the bus on Friday." I want to tell you how smart kids are nowadays. My neighbor kid came out of the house the other day, little girl, and I said, "Oh, I hear that you've got a little baby brother right now." She said, "Yeah, Mom finally took her out of layaway." This is Bud Reinke and his wife Susie, which is my prodigal son. This is Janet Meisinger and her daughter Trina.
I'm his daughter.
I'm his daughter. This is Betty. When I got ready, I did marry hers. That's Betty. This is Candy. This is Bud's daughter and her. That is her husband. This is Chris. His wife is in the army over in England, so he's out here in the United States running around. And I guess that gets us all. And what's us? I work here.
I'm Werner Reinke Klein, and this is my hubby Harold.
Coming out over there.
Okay, this is the oldest sister. And this is the youngest sister. And then this one, not you, that was Joycey. Then this one, and then this one, and then finally me. This is this is our oldest brother Herb, and our youngest brother Harold. Okay, we're done. Oh, isn't this? What are we going to do now? Herbert, take off your hat.
There, I'll put it back on.
Hey, maybe this guy here can give us a hand.
Well, isn't that Cranky Ranky Jr.?
Yeah, I wonder why they call him Cranky.
Howdy, boys. Got a problem?
Yeah, we was wondering if you give us a lift into town.
Nope. Should have bought a Dodge.
That's why they call him Cranky.
Maybe this guy can help us. Oh no, it's Cranky Ranky Jr. He won't give us a ride. We don't have a Dodge.
Hi, ladies. You got a problem?
I don't suppose you could give us a ride into town.
I'm not that cranky.